Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 170th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that we've put onto YouTube. The team I'm in today consists of a Brotherhood member FLANKME, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then we have Brotherhood member CRAZYWOLF, who has also bought the Rome Julio faction. And then myself, Spartan Commander, who's also bought the Rome Julio faction. So there's our team there. I think FLANKME and Crazy's been in the Brotherhood for a while now, and are two really good players. But you wait till you see the other team, all recognised great players. Should be a good one for you to watch. And here is the other team. We have IOW Lou Reed, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction. And then we have RTW player INDI, who's bought the Rome Brutio faction. And then we have RTW player THOR, who has bought the Rome Scipio faction there. So there's the enemy team. As I said, all recognised players, really good players on RTW. This has the ingredients to be a great battle. I hope you enjoy it. At this very early stage of the battle here, I thought I should just show you the general disposition of all the armies as we're kind of squaring up to each other. As you can see here on our left flank here, IOW Lou Reed has just done an aggressive attacking move with one of his forward units there onto my army there. But as I say, there's a general overview of all the armies of both teams there. As I said earlier, we're kind of squaring up to each other just to see who's going to make the first move here. Or as a lot of people say, who's going to blink first. As you can see here, the Scipii enemy team this end has gone in Testudo. Just going to pause the game here for a second. Any new players watching this, you may well have seen units in Testudo, but if you look closely, you can see why a lot of people use them as a good defensive, if you like, formation. Can you see how all the shields there are protecting all the men inside? And of course, this is what real Roman troops used to use as a formation to stop missiles and other things being able to hit the men inside. It's a bit like a tank, isn't it, if you look at it? The only weak spot is the rear. If you notice, if you can get your units in behind the Testudo, as you see, there's no protection there, so you could charge in there, but the rest of it, from above and from the flanks and from the front, is very well protected. So that's a very good formation there, I think, as I say, formulated by the Romans. Very strong defensive formation there. So as you can see there, all of his Scipii infantry on this right flank of ours has gone into Testudo. Meanwhile, over on the left flank, you can see that the enemy Scipii player opposite me, I believe, as I said before, is that Lou Reed, is attacking my forward units with his forward units there. Nice aggressive play here by this player. He's moving his troops forward. There's a bit of a close-up of the troops fighting there. As I said before, even though Rome is over 11 years old now, I think the graphics are still not too bad really for such an old game. Meanwhile, over on our right flank here, you can see that Brotherhood member FLANKME is doing kind of a tentative right flanking action here. He's got his archers there firing into the enemy, and he's backed his archers up with his cavalry. Did you see that? Because the enemy tried attacking his archers with their cavalry, but he'd already had his own cavalry there to defend them. Once again, here's an overview of the battlefield to see what's exactly happening. As you can see over here on the left flank, still being attacked by the enemy Scipii army in front of me. Now, as I said before, nice aggressive tactics by the enemy. As I said in other battle videos, if you're aggressive, if you attack, then the enemy has to kind of respond to you. So it's quite a nice to see an aggressive attacking move like this. As you can see now, we're exchanging pilers. And if you notice, there's quite a large enemy cavalry build up on this side of the battlefield here. Just going to pause the game here for a second. Brotherhood members watching this, if you go on to our tactical part of the Brotherhood website, you'll see there's a subject there about the ride-over tactic. About 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of people used to use this ride-over tactic where they would attack fiercely with their infantry on one flank, bringing all their cavalry over to that flank, and just as their infantry engaged, they would then charge in all their cavalry. So you could have 18 or 24 cavalry units charging through you, and it would literally ride over your infantry and rout them. And as I say, this was a tactic that was used about 4 or 5 years ago, and this is a really popular subject on the Brotherhood website. It's called the ride-over tactic. You might be interested to have a read about it. But looking at all that cavalry there, that's maybe something that they're thinking about doing here on the left flank. As I said, we call it the ride-over tactic, because literally, if they all charge in with infantry as well, they can. If your allies aren't quick enough to support you with their cavalry, they can literally ride over you. So you can see the Scipii cavalry coming out here to the left. So we're looking at another angle to charge in, because the other Scipii and the Brutii cavalry could come straight in, and then that Scipii cavalry could come in from like a flank charge, if you like. So I've seen that, and I'm going to move my infantry back. Meanwhile, over on the right flank here, you can see that Brotherhood member FLANKME has really gone round on that right flank now. And there's actually, if you see, turned, I think it's THOR there, has turned him actually to face outwards now. But if you notice, there are some enemy cavalry coming over to this right flank now. Okay, what I'm waiting for now is if the enemy Scipii general opposite me that's attacking me moves his cavalry over to my right, then he's going to move his cavalry away. Then that, to my way of thinking, is going to leave his infantry a little bit exposed to a cavalry hit. So what I'm looking to do here is, if he does move his cavalry away at the back, I'm going to charge in with my cavalry and try and rout this army. If you notice in the centre here, as I said, we pause the game now. If you notice in the centre here, things are a bit quiet at the moment. If you notice that CRAZYWOLF's moved the formation out slightly to the right there, but over here on our right flank, you can see the enemy's brought over about 12 cavalry units there. Probably with a view, I would think, to charge into the flank of FLANKME. I think that's the way it's looking at the moment. So there's a general overview of the battle at the moment there. Be interesting to see what happens next. You can see Crazy is now sending his cavalry over to the right flank to support FLANKME. If you notice here, the enemy Scipii infantry has routed one of my units and is moving round to my flank here. As I said before, a nice aggressive attacking move there by the enemy Scipii general. Right, over here on the right flank, as we said earlier, can you see the enemy now are charging into the flank of FLANKME. It wouldn't surprise me if some of his units started to rout there as that massive enemy cav goes in. Do you notice the enemy Brutii cavalry are stood back, anticipating FLANKME sending his cavalry in to counterattack, and now the Brutii cavalry charge in to counterattack FLANKME's counterattack cavalry there. And if you notice, a lot of our allies' Julia units are starting to rout now with that massive cavalry and infantry hit. If you notice, the infantry charged in as well at the same time. Right, can you see CRAZYWOLF now is counterattacking with his cavalry to help FLANKME out? Right, let's pause the game here for us to take stock of the situation. Over here on the right, remember that the blue and the green are the enemy team, and the red is our team there. So just at a glance, you can see exactly what's going on. Over here in the, you can see that the enemy Scipii cavalry is coming over from the left flank. Now, do you remember what I said about earlier? I was waiting for that cavalry to move, and now what I want to do is I want to charge my cavalry into the infantry I'm facing here. I'm hoping to try and rout this army facing me here, and then take my army round to help my ally out. As you can see here, there's a lot going on the battlefield at the moment. Okay, let's see what happens next. Right, can you see that the enemy Scipii cavalry that was in the army opposite me is gone, moved over to my right. I'm now going to charge my cavalry into the infantry here. Now remember what we talked about in other battle videos. Usually with cavalry, we charge in, get the full cavalry charge bonus and pull back. Well, this time I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and push through this enemy infantry to get in behind them. You see the power of that cavalry pushing through. Now I've pushed my cavalry through that infantry there and come out the back of them, just what I wanted to do there, as I move my own infantry forward to engage that Scipii infantry there. As you can see, there's a lot of action going over on the right flank. Right, I'm just going to pause the game here for a second. Okay, as you see, I'm attacking the enemy Scipii army in front of me. And if you notice here, the enemy Brutii infantry are now moving over to the right flank to support their ally. But as I said earlier, if you look at the enemy here, you can see the blue are the enemy, and the green are the enemy, and the red are our team. So you can see that by the looks of it here, just at a glance, the blue has a dominant force here over on the right flank. Okay? So there's a lot going on here at the moment on the right. And as you can see, a lot of our friendly Julii units have routed. Right, now you see I've just thrown my cavalry just pushed through the enemy there. Now I've got two choices. What I can do is I can either take my cavalry on to attack the Scipii enemy there, bearing in mind that the enemy Brutii infantry are moving over there as well and may cut off my attack, or I can charge my cavalry back into this Scipii army with my infantry attacking and take out this Scipii army and then move my whole army round over to that right flank. So there's two choices: either attack over on the right with my cavalry, although that Brutii infantry may just block my attack, or I can charge back in and try and take out the Scipii army in front of me and then move my whole army over there then. Which do you think you would do? Let's see what happens. Okay, what I've made a decision now, split second decision, was to come back in to take out this Scipii army here. I know Crazy sent over reinforcements to help flank me on the other flank, so I'm just hoping they're going to hold long enough for me, if I can, to take this Scipii army out that's in front of me and then move my whole army over there to help. Right, if you notice, I've attacked that enemy Scipii infantry with my infantry as well. Want to get them engaged so that one of my cavalry now is going to rally and charge back in. I'm hoping that it's going to rout most of those Scipii units that are left. Right, let's just pause the game for a second and look over on our right flank. Now once again, remember the enemy are the green and the blue, the Scipii and the Brutii, and our team is the red. Now just at a glance here, you can see that the green and the blue are definitely the dominant force here over on our right flank. I'm just hoping that Crazy and FLANKME are going to be able to hold, giving me time, hopefully time, to take out the enemy in front of me and move my army over to help. So there you go. It's just at a glance there, you can see what's exactly going in. Right, you can see that there's Julii, or allies Julii cavalry is charging in, and if you notice that the enemy Scipii cavalry charging in a massive cavalry hit, and bang, as that's two cavalries hit. Meanwhile, over on the left flank here, if you've noticed, I've taken my cavalry through a weak part of the Scipii line. I'm just going to charge in there now into the back of those engaged enemy Scipii troops, try and get them routed as soon as I can, and then get my reinforcements, my army over to reinforce my right flank there. As I say, it's a bit of a gamble on what you do on the battlefield. Sometimes a gamble comes off, sometimes it doesn't. I'm just hoping that this one will. But as I said before, you can see the enemy blue and green force here is very dominant on our right flank. As you can see now, CRAZYWOLF's bringing his infantry over from the centre here to help flank me out on this right flank of ours. Right, if you notice, I'm bringing my cavalry and infantry across now as fast as I can to help my allies out. Just like I say, really nice teamwork there by Crazy, bringing his infantry over to support FLANKME. Right, can you see I'm charging my cavalry in? Can you see that the enemy Scipii general has seen my cavalry charging in? He's trying to get his cavalry over to counter my cavalry charge, but my cavalry just hits before his cavalry does. So I'm just hoping it's going to rout a lot of the enemy units there. Plus my infantry's coming in as well with my cavalry, so there's a good chance we might rout that Scipii cavalry that's just charged in there. If you notice that Crazy Wolf has just brought his cavalry in behind the enemy, a bit like a hammer and anvil attack there, as we both come in, or if you like, a sandwich attack there, a calf sandwich there. The enemy was the, if you like, was the ingredients between the two pieces of bread there, as that calf sandwich attack came in. So it looks now like our team has managed to go on and win this battle there. Most of the, I think most of the enemy troops are now have now been routed or dead.
Clearly our victory.
Just like to say, really well played to everybody in the game. Some really great aggressive attacking work by the enemy team there. Really well played to them. It's nice to see an aggressive attacking tactics by them. Really well done. And I'd just like to say really well done to Crazy Wolf and FLANKME. I thought FLANKME held extremely well on that right flank, bearing in mind he had 12 units of cavalry hitting him and all that infantry. And I thought Crazy Wolf held well in the centre there and sending good reinforcements out to FLANKME on the right flank. That was good teamwork there by Crazy Wolf. As I said, new players watching this, that's what teamwork's all about, is helping your teammates out on the battlefield. You might be a great player in your own right and play really well, but if your teammates lose, then the chances are you're going to lose the battle. So I hope you enjoyed that one. If you enjoyed the battle and you've enjoyed other Brotherhood battles, please subscribe to our channel. It's always great to have new subscribers, and also you'll be automatically informed when the next battle is ready to watch. This is Spartan Commander saying hope you enjoyed the battle, look forward to seeing you soon, and bye for now.